Now, Ukraine is just waking up to the second day of voting in the different referenda that are being conducted across 4 regions by Russia. And these referenda will, of course, decide whether these regions that have now been occupied by Russia in Ukraine will be joining the Russian territory formally or not. The people in the provinces of Donetsk, Luhansk, parts of Zaporizhia and Kherson have been asked to vote in different referendums. In some regions, there are reports that armed soldiers are going door to door to collect the vote. And in other areas, there are full-fledged booths that have been set up within communities for people to cast their vote. The reports also indicate that there is one ballot for the entire household. So everyone is not entitled to vote. The experts say that if the referendums get a majority, then this will mean a redrawn border for Ukraine. Not on paper, but at least in de facto terms on the ground. Now, Moscow is justifying this move and calling it a reunification of Russia. It's also said that it has liberated these territories that it has now occupied from Ukraine. However, Kiev and the West, of course, see this as a clear move of annexation by the Russians, similar to what they did with Crimea back in 2014.
Дорогие земляки, более 8 лет мы ждали этого момента. Ждали тревожными ночами и напряженными буднями на фронте и в тылу. Ждали так, как ждут возвращения в семью после долгих лет разлуки. Проведение референдума – историческая веха. Не только потому, что мы уверены в его положительном результате, а потому, что это кульминация нашего общего непростого пути.
Now, the scenes out of the present-day Ukraine in terms of the place where the referendum is in fact being held are very similar to what actually happened in Crimea. Now, Moscow, remember, held a referendum in the Russian-speaking region, and for the last 8 years, the Kremlin forces have held their ground. And this is despite the West not recognizing Russia's seizure. Now, amidst the recent voting, the Russian residents in Crimea held a concert in support of the referendum. The voting, of course, comes at a time when major world leaders have gathered in New York for the United Nations General Assembly. And what is interesting is that the war in Ukraine featured in almost every leader's 15-minute speech. Now, Russia has thoroughly condemned it for what it quotes as sham referendums, which of course are being held, where Russia has been condemned for holding these referendums, where many people have dubbed it as nothing more than a ruse on the part of the Russians to land grab the territory that it has captured in Ukraine.
Абсолютно справедливо світ відреагує і на псевдореферендуми. Вони будуть однозначно засуджені. І на злочинну мобілізацію, яку окупанти намагаються зараз провести в Криму та інших частинах України, які вони поки контролюють. Це ж не просто злочини проти міжнародного права і права України. Це злочини проти конкретних людей, проти народу.
Now, there are mixed reactions that are coming in from the residents of the separatist-held regions. Some are, of course, breathing a sigh of relief, while others have said that there's absolutely no space for the Russians on their land. This is, of course, what they claim, but de facto, in terms of the control that is now being exercised, it is the Russians who are in charge in large parts of these areas in Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson and Zaporizhia.
Настанет мир на земле, мир в наших душах. Всего доброго, всего хорошего и за будущее.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.